Hi. Ignore that. Ignore it. Also, I have my drink. Do not ask me what this is because it's disgusting, but I have to drink it. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, honestly. I just thought of the gender stereotypes because it's been on my mind. What's expected of women? What's expected of men? Being called cold. A robot. Has anyone been called a robot? I've been called a robot since I was a child. It takes a long time for me to open up to someone. Plus, I'm an introvert. So yeah, I'm just not a very emotional person, at least not to random people. And I think there is that expectation again with women to just be very expressive at times. I'll give you an example. Okay. So when I was in high school and I would play tennis and I was on a team, and I remember the first year I did it, it was the game that decided if we were going to go to the championships. I tried my best. I think I won my match. Things were looking good, but then things weren't looking so good anymore. And we realized, okay, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. Everyone was starting to get really sad. We lost. So we were all huddled up in a group because she's like, come on guys, let's talk about it. And I remember I was like this, right? Because we're all like putting our hands over each other. And I'm looking around and everyone's crying. Everyone is crying. I have a tendency to laugh at really inappropriate times. So I'm looking around, I'm like, please hold it in. By the way, if you have the same problem, the only thing I have found that helps me is to bite your tongue. Not so that it hurts, just a little bit. And that could help you stop yourself from laughing. But anyways, I was looking around and I was like, are we serious right now? As we all dispersed, the coach, she came up to me and me alone. And she was like, Misha, it's okay to show your emotions sometimes. I was like, yeah, right. I'm really hiding my pain right now. That's what's happening. I tried my best though. And I know everyone on the team tried their best and we didn't make it. There's always next year. I don't understand. I also didn't judge anyone for it. Like I said, I was just trying to get through the moment without laughing. But then she said that to me and I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe there is something wrong with me. And people think I'm just holding it in. Women tend to be a bit more emotional than men. You'll just find, I think, in general, a bit more ups and downs. And that even makes sense hormonally, for example. So we all know that when people notice that maybe some girls or women don't express themselves the same way that other women are or that they're expected to, they think they are hiding. They think that they're pretending not to care or not having the same emotional reaction when in reality, every woman is different. And there have been many cases like that. That's just one example that I can think of. And it stuck with me because I remember her coming up to me. She's like, it's okay. It's okay to show your emotions sometimes. As if I never show my emotions. And just because I'm not crying and I'm not, goo goo gaga, and that's awful. But look at this cute cup. I got this in Iceland. Anyways, it is sad and I get it. But I'm also not brought to tears. And that doesn't really come naturally to me. When a man doesn't cry, when a man doesn't express his emotions that way, or maybe it just doesn't come naturally to him, that's fine. That's being stoic, emotionally regulated. But when it's a woman, you're a robot. It's okay to show your emotions sometimes. You're faking it. You're cold. Like there's something wrong with you. So there is that double standard. And I think it's silly. I think the very strict gender roles in general are a huge problem, actually. And something I've talked about a lot on the main channel is how that affects the way people view gender, the way people feel like they can express themselves. In society, it's important to have a good balance of masculinity and femininity. But when you're forcing that, especially on a child, that's going to cause a lot of issues later on in life. That's something not a lot of, especially conservatives, people on the right, also extremely religious people, they don't really want to talk about that. And when you speak to a lot of detransitioners, you will hear that as a common theme. I wasn't allowed to express myself at all. Girls like Barbies, girls like Pink, girls go to ballet. When you grow up, you're going to stay at home, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids. Anything else, if you stray from that, it's a problem. Yeah. A lot of those people, they end up with all kinds of issues when we force these gender roles and these stereotypes on men and women. And to be clear, I don't think it's an issue at all. If you're stereotypically feminine or masculine, I think most people will fall into those roles naturally because that's just the way biology works. Most women will want children and have that nurturing personality, all that. And that's fine. And for men, right, that innate desire to protect, to provide, cool, fine. All I'm saying is that when we start forcing that from a very young age, you can never experiment with like a truck if you're a girl. You can never do anything a little bit more stereotypically, boyish or demonizing tomboys. A lot of those girls grow up and they struggle with their identity. But even if that wasn't the case, everyone is different. And when a woman goes against the norm, I think people get uncomfortable because they expect a performance, a certain kind of femininity, personality, aspirations, goals in life. Anyways, there is that judgment. Here's the thing. Men on the right are very comfortable judging women who don't want that more traditional setup. Women on the left are far more comfortable judging women who do want that traditional setup. So those are kind of the differences I've noticed. And it's exhausting. Or also you hear this on both sides as well for men. This is what a real man would do. This is what a real man won't do. It's like a real man, real woman. As soon as I hear that, I kind of tune out. There's this weird kind of hypocrisy where with not just gender, but sexuality. Don't assume someone's sexuality based on how they look. Agreed. You can't know. Of course, there are patterns sometimes. Like, actually, I don't know if I want to talk about that. But not everyone. Just because someone looks straight doesn't mean they're straight. Just because someone looks gay doesn't mean they're gay. But then they do that. Example, I forgot who it was. They were not a fan of Megyn Kelly. And they said something like, Megyn looks like a clockable trans person, something like this. So, okay, that's more gender. But why are you using trans as an insult? Always that weird hypocrisy with the topic of transgender, but also sexuality is something I've noticed. I think also with style, I feel like you could definitely be performative in either direction. So if you are someone that, I hate girly things, I hate it, more so coming from a place of rebellion and anger, you can kind of tell either way when someone is not really a fan of what they are choosing to put on their bodies or their hair or their makeup or whatever, but they feel like they have to make a point or to go against the norm or to fit in that little box. But when someone is just truly being themselves, they're comfortable in their own skin, that also was really easy to tell. I also have never been extremely girly. Now, that's not to say I never wore dresses as a kid or I hated pink or something like that, although for many years I did hate pink. But it was more so about personality, right? I wasn't walking around in boy clothes. I didn't have a buzz cut. Actually, I did have half my head shaved when I was like 17-ish. I think it was like an undercut. That was cool. It was a cool moment and it felt a lot lighter. But I'm not really talking about physical appearance. I'm talking more so about personality and the kind of reactions you get from other people. Again, robot. It's okay to smile. It's okay to share emotions. It's okay to shut the fuck up. Some other ways I've seen this manifest throughout my life is being a bit more quiet, a bit more selective when it comes to choosing friends. This expectation of being overly friendly, overly accommodating, constantly making sacrifices or else you're considered rude. Having standards is a problem. Always found that ridiculous. In fact, you shouldn't care about what most people think. You should care about the people that care about you, right? You should care about your family, your friends, what they think, their input matters. But random people, who cares? Because people are like uncomfortable with that. They want the, what do you feel? What do you think? Oh, it matters. You matter. Everyone matters. But you don't have to care about everyone's opinion. You don't have to take everyone's advice. For example, I will respect those who respect me. If someone is being awful, I'm not going to respect shit. Too bad. Cry. I'm expected to comfort people. I give this example a lot because it's something I have never understood and I don't think I ever will understand it. With female friendships, you should consider yourself lucky if you find someone that you really get along with. I do thankfully know people who don't do this, but a lot of them do. They choose an issue. Oh, this girl at work, she's always putting me down. I'm like, okay, stand up for yourself. Do this and that. I give advice because they ask for advice. Do they take the advice? Take a guess. Do they ever take the advice? No. Never. Okay. So why ask me? Do they make a plan? Do they even say, oh, I couldn't do it because? No. It's just a desire to gossip. That's what I think it is. It's just a desire to get that affirmation. Yeah, that is really difficult. Can we talk about something else though? Can we talk about how to improve our lives instead of this constant negativity? But that is considered rude and cold by saying, hey, this is pointless. In our society, if a male does that, more times than not, that would be considered, oh, he's just really focused. He's very strategic. But for a woman, cold monster, apathetic. And then on the opposite side, you do have some men who will show just a little bit of emotion. And then society will be like, that's so girly. You're not a real man. Real men shouldn't have feelings at all. Please. Not faking warmth all the time if that's just not coming naturally to you. It also depends on how you're saying it. Because I'm not out here saying, shut up! Like, I don't want to hear that. No. It's like I've tried many times with some past friends, and I'd be like, hey, I already gave you advice. I just genuinely want to know what is the point of us talking about this. It doesn't seem to actually be making you feel better. That's why I don't do it. Unless I need advice, unless I go and I say, hey, this is what's happening. What do you think I should do? And then I will take action. Or if I'm not going to take action, I'm not going to bring it up again. Out of respect also for the other person. For some reason, a lot of people struggle with that, but just not faking this softness all the time. I don't see why that's an issue. Would people really rather have a fake person? Like someone who just fakes a personality because they know it's more socially acceptable? I don't think so. I think it may make people feel more comfortable, but you can't prioritize other people's comfort, especially when it's random people. Maybe if it's someone you're seeing once, right, at like an event, you could just fake it a little bit just to get through it. As long as that person who you really are is not actively hurting yourself or others, as long as that's not the case, then be yourself. And if other people don't like it, they don't like it. Too bad. It takes time and it takes practice, but that's just something I've learned. That's something I have experienced throughout my life. I think that's all. Has this been something you have experienced with gender stereotypes? Or maybe you have the opposite problem. Maybe you have been called too emotional as a woman or a man. Let me know. Also remember to follow, like, share, all that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.